1 second with a brief word from our sponsors. EOJ Japan's Alpha and Omega 100% all natural men's beard grooming kit for only $49.95. It comes with beard balm, beard oil, and wash. Start your day looking your best from beginning to the end. A man is a man from start to finish. Alpha and Omega. What type of man do you want to be? Listen, Kareem Ali TV, the Are You Serious podcast. Kareem Ali may have to print a retraction when we talk about who the greatest little man of all time is. Kareem Ali usually always takes Isaiah Lord Thomas III. It's Zeke. The answer is Zeke. He beat Magic Michael Larry in the same playoffs. The only player who's done that of that type of caliber, in my recollection, was Dirk Nowitzki, who beat Kobe Bryant. He beat a trio of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook in the playoffs on his way to defeating embarrassing LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. But Isaiah Thomas, the tremendous heart, the ball handling ability, the skills, the ability to defend and just understanding how to win. I always felt like Isaiah Thomas was the greatest little man. But watching some NBA games this season and seeing what's going on, I used to question Steph Curry. I used to question if he was tough enough. I knew he had skills. We're playing in this era. It's kind of hard to see when you can't really be physical with a guy. What type of skills do you really have when you have to overcome that detriment, overcome that challenge of guys really challenging you? But Steph Curry has showed it this season. Some of the offensive scoring feats from what, by all accounts, is probably the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, 40-point games, 7, 8 3-pointers in a night at times. Steph Curry just willing these Golden State Warriors to be better than they're really supposed to be. I mean, just being a really, really dominant player, being about two inches taller than Isaiah Thomas. I would have to say that I'm starting to lean towards Stephen Curry. I mean, you can't sleep on the 3 championships and 2 regular season MVPs. I mean, it's really hard to say. Zeke has an NBA Finals MVP, but Kareem Ali doesn't know. I mean, and another thing that we forgot to mention, how do we have this conversation without mentioning Chris Paul? Like, every place Chris Paul goes to, every team, he changes the culture of that team. Chris Paul elevates every team he's been on. He hasn't been able to get the big one done. Allen Iverson wasn't able to get the big one done. Kyrie Irving has, but Kyrie Irving played, and Steph Curry's played with some awfully great players. I mean, the King James, Kevin Love, Kevin Durant, James Harden, for Kyrie Irving. Steph Curry, we know who he's played with some of those great Golden State Warrior teams, and Kevin Durant was featured on a few of them, 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs for KD, playing with Steph Curry. Allen Iverson never had that. Allen Iverson had great defensive teams, coached by Larry Brown, a great defensive unit with Eric Snow, Dikembe Mutombo, Aaron McKee, Tyrone Hill, but they didn't have the offensive firepower. He never really had the offensive firepower that Kyrie Irving has had, or Isaiah Thomas or Steph Curry, to rise to that level. And Chris Paul, I don't believe Chris Paul had either. I mean, he had James Harden, but the system with Mike D'Antoni is just not one that's usually conducive to winning. How do we not add Chris Paul to the conversation for greatest little man of all time? Shame on you, Kareem Ali. Shame on all of us who have this discussion and never add Chris Paul to the conversation of greatest little man. His skill level, his ability to run off a pick and roll, his ability to split defenders off the dribble or keep a live dribble, his mid-range jump shooting ability coming off a high screen and roll or a pick and slip is pretty much second to none. And the ability also to pass with both hands. And then no one ever talks about Chris Paul as a defender, a great on-ball defender, better than many of the other people that we named. I mean, Kyrie plays defense virtually at all. Iverson, because of his size, was limited on the defensive end, but Allen Iverson was someone who would get a lot of skills because he was a great team defensive player, and his anticipation skills were next level. Steph Curry, not a great defender, but Isaiah Thomas, a very, very good defender. He led one of the greatest defensive teams of all time, just the motivation and leadership. So maybe this is a conversation that comes down to leadership. I don't know. Kareem Ali TV, the Are You Serious podcast. I'll let you decide. Who's the greatest little man of all time?
Here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds